Ultimate Venom is coming. Now, I'm not just trying to say this saying something out of my ass, obviously. This is something that I've been thinking about ever since we got the Pico suit. And honestly, throughout the entire Ultimate Spider-Man run so far, it has been giving a lot of Venom or symbiote tendencies, at least in his personality. So, obviously, I'm going to be using a lot of evidence and pictures from the entire run so far, including issue 9, which just came out. So if you don't want to get spoiled on that, then leave the video and then come back afterwards if you want to check out the rest of my thoughts. But here we go. So right off the bat, Peter was given a Pico suit by Tony Stark / Iron Lad. And that initially, which funny enough, gave Spidey an all black suit. Now, the similarities don't really stop there, in my opinion, and I think it's kind of been a masterclass in how Hickman's been kind of weaving all these different Spider-Man like lore elements into this new universe, because not only was it an all-black suit, but the suit can also like partition itself. And what do I mean by that is that the suit can take off the headpiece only, take out a portion of the mouth so Peter can eat, or he can, do other things with it. But I think it was a very much exemplified when his daughter found out like what it was or who he is, that when he was picking his suit, the suit can just morph into anything. And that was an element that the symbiote can also do. It can kind of morph. We've seen that a lot with Eddie Brock, right? He could turn the suit into a jacket. I think in the Donny Cates run, he turned it into a dog, a hat, There are different ways for the, the symbiote to actually just hide in plain sight. So the suit can transform, and it did transform into multiple different iterations of a Spider-Man suit until they found the right one that they liked. But funny enough, one of the ones that was in that selection in that page was also another black suit. And this time we had even the whole white like emblem and everything. So I think Hickman is doing some very cool stuff with just kind of giving these little nuggets here and there. But I feel like a lot of this stuff didn't explode until the last 3 issues. Of course, the most damning evidence comes in Ultimate Spider-Man number 7, 8, and the newly released number 9. So again, if you don't want to be spoiled, check it out later. It's incredibly important to mention that the inner voice isn't only an AI, according to Otto. So this is from issue 7. Now, I wanted to mention this because usually if it's just like an AI program, like, like Tony Stark, like in the movies, or in general, like he has like Friday or Jarvis or whatever, that's talking to him and giving him orders, giving him status updates, whatever. Otto himself mentions that the stuff that they picked, because not only did Peter pick himself essentially, Harry picked his father, but it essentially gives them a base level consciousness. Now, the way I interpreted that and why I think that's super important is that it's a base level consciousness. That means to me that throughout their symbiosis and their bonding, it can develop more. It can develop feelings. It can, it can be hurt, right? Which is something we get into when we go into issue 9. But that is something incredibly important that I think Otto mentioned, and I think that's going to be the downfall of this suit when it comes to at least separating, or whenever Peter thinks of the suit as a threat. Now, when it comes to the suit being emotional, we get this first in issue 8, when I believe Peter is going to a birthday party for his kids. Obviously, everyone's going, but he decides to leave his suit. But the moment he decided, nah, I'm just going to go, I'm gonna let the suit rock. I'm just going to go have fun with my kids and my wife, right? The suit talks. But the important thing is that the suit is talking without him wearing it. And Peter even acknowledges this. He says, yeah, I usually, I hear you when when I'm wearing you. Now, that is very important because to me, again, the key word is symbiosis and bonding here, because I think the more that Peter wears this suit, there's like little bits and pieces that probably go from each other and they kind of continue to bond, because I think they're so connected that there may be some Pico inside of Peter, like residual kind of symbiote kind of stuff. I think there's residual Pico suit stuff inside of Peter's mind potentially that's allowing him to now listen or hear the Pico suit without him wearing it, which I think is incredibly ominous and eerie. To add on to this wild eeriness is that in the page, anytime the suit talks, now usually they could just put which I think they do for like Iron Lad or something, they usually put the speech bubbles, because remember, this is a comic book. Most of the things, if not everything, is done deliberately for a purpose. So whenever like Iron Man or someone talks, it kind of has like this almost digital kind of text font and everything. And whenever Peter talks and whatever humans talk, unless they're evil, they have a normal speech bubble. For whatever reason, and not because it's even a robot, for whatever reason, the Pico suit, whenever it talks, it has a black and white bubble. And not only that, it has like a very tendril-like swirly end out of the bubble. So instead of it just being a normal speech bubble, it looks like a Venom speech bubble, because most Venom speech bubbles are in black and white. Since I brought up Venom himself, I'm just going to show you a page here from the Separation Anxiety run that just ended by Michelini and Sandoval, which, by the way, shout out to the art, because I think this is probably some of my favorite like Venom style or art next to like Ryan Stegman and stuff. Love this art. But here you can see that he has, and every time Venom talks in a comic, it's usually, like I said already, black and white. Another thing I want to mention with this is that the symbiote has the ability to camouflage and turn invisible, right? As you can see here with Venom as he's decloaking, right? That's important because in this issue, in issue number 9, Otto is talking to Peter about the new Spider Armor Mark 1, which by the way looks pretty cool. Bit over designed as the characters say. But in this issue, Otto mentions, oh, it has everything that you can already still do from your normal suit that you're wearing right now, except camouflage, which to him, to Otto, is beyond him. So it's stuff that he can't understand, even though it seems like a simple, oh hey, you can make base level consciousness AI and all that stuff. You can make robotic suits, but you can't make a camo suit. So obviously Otto wants to test it even further, but I think the fact that it has another kind of symbiote quirk in there continues to lead to this theory that the Pico suit and everything is going to lead to either a Venom or a giant arc of, you know, Peter losing the Pico suit to someone maybe a la Eddie Brock, which could happen because now with this new paper that Jonah and Ben are making, and, you know, aside from the Daily Bugle, they might need someone else, especially because they are getting big subscribers according to MJ. They have a big following already. So what they could do is have Eddie come in as a new, you know, intern, a new character or whatever, and, you know, maybe there's some corruption that could lead on in a future arc, maybe after they deal with the Maker or the Kingpin, right? Since I brought up issue 9, let me jump into it fully. Obviously, we have some goodies in here regarding, you know, Ben and Jameson and MJ talking about their business opportunity, which I just mentioned. But we also have a ton of stuff like the Spider Armor. And another important thing that I want to mention, which was that I mentioned the speech bubbles and all that stuff, and the color grading and the color scheme, rather. It's important because you have Harry Osborn, who's also another character that has that same level, base level consciousness thing that he has in his own Green Goblin suit. And guess what? In that suit, whenever Norman is talking, it's colored in green and white. So obviously there's like some color coding here that's not just there for show, you know what I mean? So I think that's very important. So what the biggest like red flag and cue in this section was, or at least in this issue, was it was very curious how Peter responded to when Otto offered him the new suit and everything. So Peter essentially took to the side to talk to his own suit, aside from Harry and Otto. Now, aside from the witty banter between them, the suit basically snaps at him at one point, saying, "Don't you dare leave me with him." Which, to me, that's scary, dude. So after that, Peter reassures the suit. And that's another thing that's pretty ominous, too, is that Peter is talking to the suit not like a suit, or which obviously you shouldn't be talking to a suit anyway, but he's not talking to a suit like a suit. He's talking to the suit like a person, like a thing, like an actual alive creature, because he's like reassuring it and tells the suit, no, don't you, I won't ever leave you with him. Now, of course, there could be harmless fun between Peter and his suit, but I don't think so. I think the fact that Peter's willing to, I know he's a nice guy, but the fact that he's kind of also in shadow in some of the drawings too. Maybe I'm looking too far into it here, but I feel like the way he's kind of being shady in terms of like talking to himself. Now, mind you, I also would not trust Otto. Like Harry, I can kind of trust, despite how the issue ended with him being a little bit, you know, too gung-ho. Otto seems to be the one that's most kind of just like there for scientific reasons only, not really in the interest of either of them personally. But I don't know, the way Peter kind of is moving and shaded and stuff, it's definitely giving that Peter's talking too much to the suit. Now, the last point that I have is that the suit also mentions that even if Peter leaves the suit at home, it's not too bad, because then the home will have the best protection there is. Which again, that's big, because it's basically telling us that the suit can, I guess, either morph onto, you know, his kids, on his wife, maybe it can come alive on its own and protect them in a Spider-Man image, who knows, which kind of would resemble the old style where the symbiote would take Peter's body while Peter was asleep and kind of do the superheroing while he was knocked out. But the last thing to wrap it up is to give it a call back to issue 8, is that when Peter asks the suit what else it can do, it simply replies, "Oh, I can do all kinds of things, Peter." Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'm my rambling because I really like this idea and I really love this Hickman run with Ultimate Spider-Man so far. Let me know how you're enjoying it. Do you think Venom's coming from the Pico suit? Do you think I'm talking out of my ass? Do you think other things are going to happen with the Pico suit? Maybe it is a harmless, these are good, you know, friends between each other, between suit and owner? Or do you think that it is going to go bad at some point? Do you think it's going to be a hairy Venom? Or not Harry, but a Harry Osborn Venom like we got in the game, which I think it would work maybe a little bit better in here the way they're setting things up? Or do you think we will get an Eddie Brock in the next coming months in this Ultimate Universe? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody. This is Codex signing out.